It's the real estate show. We've come to sell Dior.
Am I still on? Live from beautiful Dominican Republic. I'm in Cabarete. We're all commission coach today, baby. Real estate agents, sellers, agencies, and conferences. Buckle up. Welcome aboard. Did a nice interview with AJ. Andy James yesterday. Look for it on all the platforms that you're watching this on. Plus, welcome to LinkedIn. After 3 years, they finally let me broadcast live on LinkedIn. So you're probably not watching this on LinkedIn because I have so few. I mean, I've got almost 5,000 followers, but you don't know me to go live on LinkedIn, so it's not habitual for you to come that way. So welcome to LinkedIn. Thanks for finally getting your act together and allowing me to broadcast live. This is thecommissioncoach.com. The links are in the show description below. Commission Coach has accounts all over the place. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. And can someone tell me how I managed to get two YouTube channels under the same name, The Commission Coach, and they're divided? And I didn't start two channels. I don't know what the hell's going on, but there are two channels. And my favorite video on those ones, because I don't like watching myself on video all that much. You'd think, I'd get used to it, but I never did. Broke Agent, and I'm representing Broke Agent today, but by wearing a shirt that Eric Stick Simon sent to me. For being a radical fan. And as I turn the camera around and kill some time, you can see representing Broke Agent, Eric Stick Simon. I'm calling you out, bro. We did an interview on my channel, and now that you're interviewing people, I want to come on your show. Let's talk Commission Coach and real estate and DR. So this is the website, thecommissioncoach.com. Check it out. Now, this is for sellers. There's a book in the making too, and it's really difficult for me to sit down for hours and hours and hours and bang out a book. I'm a decent writer, but it takes so long to edit and to get my thoughts out and use proper grammar and all that kind of stuff. So I have the guts to a book. The only reason I think it's a book, or I know it's a book now, is because I mistakenly put the table of I initially was going to give this all away for free, and I've done this for years, free for agents especially, because they come in and go, Jimmy, how are you getting 4% a selling broker? Are you taking 5% and only 1 for you? I'm like, no, it's 7%. In a market where I came from in Niagara, where listing commissions are like 4 is the going rate, with 2 to the selling broker, or 5, and we'll talk about this later, and the selling broker taking 3, the listing broker keeping 3 for themselves and offering 2 to the selling broker. We'll talk about why that's a breach of your contract immediately, especially if you're not telling your sellers about it. But so I designed this as a course with 25-minute videos. And what I did is I put the heading, the name of the video, and then 5 points that I was going to talk about just off the cuff. And then by mistake, I put it into columns one day, and I'm like, shit, that's the table of contents for a book. So, ghostwriters, if you're out there, I have the bones. I just need the flesh put around it. I just need it to be Jimmy Fannonized. You know, a little bit of my personality, a little bit of my humor, and all the bones put in. I just need some meat and flesh and skin, and then a pretty tan on top. So we're going to hit this hard and fast today. I'm not going to give you all the answers. TheCommissionCoach.com does have a program. It's called the 7% Solution. You can go there and sign up for $500 American. It'll actually go to a bank account of mine that's in Canada that's been seized by the federal government. So I'm not sure exactly how I get the money if you decide to log in and sign up, but we'll work it out, okay? TheCommissionCoach.com. Again, I've been offering this for free for a long time. You know, I would say to agents that say, how you doing this? It's, buy me lunch and I'll teach you. Now, I have no fear that I'm going to teach you this and you'll never call me back, because you're going to need coaching down the road. You're going to get into the field, you're going to get scared, or you're going to get confused, or you're not going to have the answer to a tough question. And I've got it. If there's one thing I know, it's how to list above market commissions. No matter what your going rate is, you can get higher commissions, and we're going to try and hit some of these points quickly. There's two questions that agents always answer incorrectly, and they are: what's your commission? Ring, ring, you're on duty. Ring, ring, someone calls you up and says, hey, I got a house to sell. What's your commission? I can guarantee you that every answer that trained realtors are giving is incorrect. It's wrong. I have the right answer. And if you buy me lunch, I'll tell you. Two, the second question. I don't know an agent that's ever answered this correctly unless they've had coaching from me. What's the best time for a vendor, a seller, to negotiate their commission with you or the selling broker, or both? When's the best time for the seller to negotiate commission? I can guarantee you that your answer to both these questions is absolutely incorrect, and I'm not going to answer it here, but there is video of me all over the internet and different accounts, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, where I've done videos and answered this question. But why not just sign up and pay me the big bucks, and I'll teach you how to do it. And you will list every single one of your existing properties. Whatever the commission is, I guarantee you can bump it up by a couple points. Guarantee. If it doesn't work and you don't make massive cash by using this strategy, I'll give you your money back. No problems. So I've been an agent for 30 years, mostly in Niagara. I've been in the Dominican Republic right now. I'm broadcasting from Cabarete, and it looks like my broker is on his way in, so I'll try not to put him on camera. But this is it. Ocean Dream Plaza in Cabarete. We're right at the main intersection. There's only one traffic light in Cabarete. Ocean Dream Plaza is at that intersection that contains that only traffic light. And VivaDominican.com is the website that we use to sell property down here. Clayton Gush is the owner-operator. He's the broker. And he is also on Facebook in charge of the Everything groups. It's the same logo as you see Viva. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, we don't have a... Well, you can see the Viva logo on the sticker there. And every group that he runs will have that similar logo. So check it out. Clayton is a good guy. Looks like he's going to walk in here. So it might get loud. I might have to cut it short soon because, I came in. I'd like to broadcast when there's no one here. And he said he was coming in later. And later appears to be now. Okay. So head on over to thecommissioncoach.com or pick a social media platform that's one of your favorites. And maybe if anyone's got, I've got a message out to the broke agent. I'm representing, bro. Eric, touch me up. Let's do a broadcast. We talk Dominican real estate and we talk commissions. Okay. You're a big shot. I'm just a little guy, but you've been doing this for a long time. Eric Stick-Simon is a realtor in Santa Monica, I'm pretty sure. He describes himself as a full-time comedian and a part-time realtor. That could apply to me, but I'm a little bit more full-time on the realtor and a little part-time a comedian and talk show host. So if you haven't seen The Broke Agent, go over, check out Broke Agent Media or The Broke Agent. He's on most platforms. He's got a big following on Twitter. He's got a good YouTube channel, and the guy is absolutely brilliant as far as marketing goes. And you can see a video that I did with them a few years ago. It's on the commissioncoach.com page. And I'll just give you a zoomed out look at that page here. Thecommissioncoach.com. Thecommissioncoach.com. That's where you're going. Okay, so for 30 years, I've been selling real estate in Niagara region, and for about a year and a half down here in the Dominican Republic. And back in the old days, 6% was the listing fee, with 3 to the listing agent and 3 to the selling broker. And then one day, one of the brokerages said, you know what? When someone calls and asks you what your commission is, tell them 5%. And then the public got used to thinking that the discount commission was going to put more money in their pocket. Rule number 1. Myth number 1, the biggest lie in real estate. A lower commission is going to mean more money in your pocket. No. So back in those days, when everyone was offering 3%, and then you had one guy at 2.5%, guess what happened? Well, when you can make an extra $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 by not showing the listing at 2.5%, what you get is natural boycott. Greed is good. Use it to your seller's advantage. Offer more to the selling broker if you get full price. Now, we're going to talk about this later, depending on how long I go on this stream, because we have more business that needs to get done in this office than me just speaking about commissions. But it's important, and it's even important down here in Dominican Republic. For instance, if you sell a Casa Linda property, all of the commissions that come from Casa Linda brand new construction are 10%. Now, down the street, there's another gated community which competes directly with Casa Linda, and they're at 7%. So the difference between 7 and 10 is 3, and let's say the entry-level price, it's more like $250, but let's say $3,000. That's $9,000 difference in the pocket of the agent by selling Casa Linda. Now, I'm not going to name the agency, the development that is offering 7% instead of 10 when the competition is offering 10, because it's a great community and I don't want them to feel like I'm blackballing them. But here's the reality. If the agent's making $10,000 in a different community, guess which one they're hoping to sell, even if they're showing them all? They're hoping to sell the one they get paid more money on. And in this case, the difference in 3% at $300,000 is $9K. Am I doing the math correctly? I think I am. I can calculate 3% of just about any number. Again, back in the day, when the first discount came out, the impression that was left on the public, and still exists today, it's an old wives' tale, it's an urban legend. Less commission means more money in my pocket. No, it doesn't. Actually, the reverse is true. So what I started doing is, if agents were going to blackball or get less excited about the properties that had a lower commission on it, then, and I'm a Floyd Wickman sweat hog. This is not my technology, but Floyd Wickman only took it so far. God bless him. Floyd Wickman is one of the great real estate trainers in the industry. But here's the thing. Real estate trainers are not teaching how to get better commissions, and it's the easiest, simplest way to make more money. And sellers, hang in there, because I'm not just talking to agencies, brokerages, and conferences here. Sellers, this is for you too. When your agent comes in and they goes, here's a 5% listing and 2.5 to the selling broker, or 2 to the selling broker, we're going to talk later if I continue this stream much further, but I might have to come back. Why taking a 5% listing and offering 2 to the selling broker, if you don't tell your vendor what you're doing, it's a breach of the contract completely, right off the bat. It's a breach of your fiduciary duty. Now, in Dominican Republic, there's no fiduciary duty. There's no agency agreements. Nothing, hardly anything is exclusive down here. Now, I have some exclusive listings on some hotels and stuff like that, and a few residential properties, but mostly in Dominican Republic, you call your agent over, and then you call your other agent over, and then you call 10 more other agents over, and you list it 12 times with everyone you can think of to increase your chances of selling, because down here in Dominican Republic, there's no MLS system. So it's a little bit different, but it still works the same way. So what I started doing, thanks to Floyd Wickman, I took the complete Sweat Hog course maybe more than once. I think Wayne Quirk offered it in-house at Remax after he was designated a trainer through Floyd Wickman's program. And I've spoken to Floyd about this. He's still doing some limited coaching through Floyd Wickman training. He sold the Sweat Hogs, the program. I'm not sure at what level it exists anymore, or even if, God bless him, I hope Floyd's still alive. I haven't spoken to him in a few years. One of the greatest real estate training programs going. Mike Ferry? No. Mike Ferry. I spoke to Mike Ferry as well. He's one of the old school real estate trainers as well, but I never took Mike Ferry's stuff. I'm a Sweat Hog. So what I started doing was taking Floyd's advice. We took 7% listings with 3.5 to the selling broker, which was a half point better than anyone else in the industry at that point when the majority of listings were still 6 with 3 to the selling broker. That was a half point more than everyone else, and that was enough to excite people. And then as commissions started to drop, I started to increase mine, so I take 7% total and offer 4% to the selling broker. And it works. Sometimes I pay the commission. Sometimes I don't. And I say you might say the vendor pays the commission, but the transaction pays the commission. It flows through the listing agent into Canada, North America. You understand all the money goes in the vendor's account. It comes out of the vendor's, but without the buyer paying the price, there's no commission payable. So who actually pays the commission? The transaction pays the commission, or the brokers pay the commission, because I'm offering a selling broker or co-op, they call it down here, and it's negotiable. But you have to know when you have leverage in the transaction, leverage to guarantee or give you support to lower your commission. And there's only one time that you have leverage in the deal as a seller. If you think you know, put it in the comments below, but I think you don't. Thecommissioncoach.com is where you go to. I had to pay to I let the site expire, and I let it expire for too long, and I had to pay $250 American to rebuild it. Or no, just for GoDaddy to go back and grab the old files and put them back up there. I got to pay for this bad boy. Giddy up. So in a market where commissions are falling, this should help you. And sellers, there's information in here for you too. Okay, agents, I'm going to skip gears a little bit here, although I should talk about the Billy factor. The Billy factor is what we just talked about. Okay, so I remember when we used to have MLS books, and I go into the office at Remax. Billy and I shared an office, and the page would look like this: 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2.5. So I know I still draw pictures. This is your MLS page. These are all $100,000 properties. Now I know those properties, and each one's got a selling broker commission right in the listing. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2.5. Which one are you not going to show? So I remember I walk into the office and Billy's going, he's pretty much carving through the page. He's crossing this one out. I'm like, what's wrong with that one? I'm not showing that at 2.5%. That's a weak agent. Well, he's absolutely right. And is it greedy to say I'm in this to make more money and I need to make more money, so I'm not excited about that one? And I'm telling you, when you're standing on the street and you're looking at townhouses that are virtually the same and the same price, and one's at 4%, one's at 2%, and one's at $1, guess which one they get excited about? The one they make more money on. And I locked my broker out, so he's fiddling with his keys, and he's on his way in. So that's a little bit about that. The Billy factor, why not? So we've increased the selling broker commission on all your listings. You're going to go refresh all your listings, and you're going to make them brand new. You're going to release them from their original contract after they sign the new one. After they sign the new one, let's get the new commission on it. So if you've got a 4 or 5% commission, You don't do a revision to freshen it up. Cancel the listing, but first get them to sign the new listing. And the new listing should be at 7% with forward to the selling broker, and it should be a 6-month minimum. And you should have the appliances included, not, what do they call it? Negotiable. Appliances are negotiable, offer absolutely zero saleability to the listing. Yeah, my price is negotiable too. Commission, negotiable. Appliance is negotiable. So you're throwing the appliances in at full pop. Just like at full pop, you're paying 4%, which is 7 in total. Just like at full pop, you're offering immediate possession. That doesn't mean they're desperate. It means that if you have the money, you have your house sold, and you have cash, and you want to possess this thing in less than 30 days, you can have it as quickly as the lawyers can close it. So if you're putting 60 or 90 days TBA to be arranged on your listing, then the people that are desperate to take possession of something immediately are only looking at bank foreclosures with immediate possession, vacant properties with immediate possession, or vendors that are smart enough to put immediate possession in their listing because they know it attracts a wider pool of buyers. So you're going to freshen up your listings. From here, you'll have the technology, or at least part of it. You might need some coaching on the back end if you get into trouble on the listing presentation. But you're going to have the technology to go in and relist all your inventory at 4% to selling broker, a 7% total commission with immediate possession with the appliances included. What am I missing? Well, isn't that enough? That's a good way to freshen up your listings, right? Okay, the Billy factor. We talked about the lie. The proof. The MLS system and agency in North America has been around since 1888. Prove me wrong. Self-regulated, and nothing that is not worth its value lasts 100 years. So although people bitch about paying commissions all the time, try selling your house alone. It's first of all, third-party negotiating is way better than negotiating for yourself, especially if you're a sole seller and you don't have a partner and you're negotiating directly with the buyer. I can't get shoe polish included in new shoes when I'm negotiating for myself. But you put me in front of a buyer or seller representing my client, then I'm a monster. So third-party negotiating obviously offers a little distance from negotiating, you know? You don't have to worry about poker face because your agent is wearing it. You don't have to worry about, I got to talk to, well, I don't have anyone to talk to. You know, when you're directly negotiating with the buyer, it's a little bit more difficult. And that's why third-party negotiating, and that's why the realtors have been getting paid for 100 years, and their commissions haven't really reduced all that much. I mean, they're gone from 6 to, 4%? Now, there's pressure's being put on commissions all the time, especially in a hot market. But Canada, North America, you're not in a hot market anymore. And, you know, I wasn't doing these videos when inventory is flying off the shelf and it's selling for more than list price. This doesn't work then. This works in a declining or a very competitive market. And like we just said, if you got 3 townhouses and they're all the same floor plan, all the same square footage, basically all in the same shape, and you've got one at 4% commission, one at 2%, and then one at $1, you know, it's not easy. It's not difficult to figure out who's getting excited about what and why. Greed is good. TheCommissionCoach.com. And I'll give you my phone number too if you want to call. WhatsApp is most popular down here in the Dominican Republic, but my phone is Claro. What's Claro mean? Sure? Something like that. Claro. Clear. Okay, sure. 809-330-8926. 809-330-8926 is my Dominican number, and it works on WhatsApp. TheCommissionCoach.com is where you're going on the internet if you want to check out the website. And if you want to come down and see us, here we are right here. We're in Cabarete on the north coast of Dominican Republic. You can go to the south coast if you want an all-inclusive vacation package, but if you want to surf and you want to swim without the fear of sharks, you come to the north coast. If you want to be free of hurricanes and major wind damage, you come to the north coast. if you want to invest in property, you come to the North Coast. The president's from the North Coast down here. Soon he'll be up for re-election in his second term. We know what happens in politics. More gets done in the second term because you have more of a mandate from the people. I think that'll happen. Who knows? I'm not sure exactly when those, they come every 4 years, just like the states. I'm not sure when that date is going to be, but it's coming up soon. And the current president is from the North Coast, and he has not been shy about putting resources, i.e. money and infrastructure spending, into the North Coast from Puerto Plata all the way to Samana and Los Terrenos. So here's where you're going to go. thecommissioncoach.com. And we already talked about the questions that all agents are incorrectly answering. Two questions, two really common questions too. How much is your commission? You get that all the time from sellers, right? They call you, hey, ring, ring. Hey, yeah, duty agent. Yeah, I want to sell my house. How much do you charge? I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you think the answer is, you're giving the wrong one. Let me give you the right one. And the other question, that unless you've had personal coaching from me or seen it on one of my videos, you're going to answer this wrong. When's the best time for the seller to negotiate with the agents? When's the only time that the seller has leverage over the agents on their commission? When's the only time that the seller has leverage to reduce his commission? There's only one time in the whole transaction. And whatever you answer to that will be incorrect. Unless you're Greg Gunya or somebody else that I've coached for a long time back in Canada. The contract is clear. The writing is clear. If you bring me X, I will pay you Y. Now, you can accept W and still pay Y. We do that all the time. But the contract is clear. If you get me this, and here's a great way to put it as an example, okay? So you're an agent, and sellers, I'm talking to you too, but specifically because I'm an agent, this is kind of more, the book will be for both buyers, sellers, conferences, agencies, all kinds of stuff, right? Let's say you're in North America and you're walking out the door with a 4 or 5% commission. Let's forget what you've given to the selling broker. They call it co-op down here, and a lot of time in the States they call it the co-op commission. Let's say you have a signed agreement, so there's no risk right now. When you're walking out the door and you have everything signed and witnessed and you've delivered true copies, none of which is applicable down here. The contracts that we write for listings, they're not worth the paper they're written on. And we don't do much of the negotiation other than just get a deal together on price, and then we send it all to the lawyers, and the lawyers do it in Spanish, and they do it in the correct color ink, and it's different down here. But in Canada, you delivering a true legible copy immediately to make sure that contract, if you don't leave a copy, it's not a valid contract. And that's why they put the little seals beside the signature, because for it to be legal, it needs to be signed under seal. So that's why they put those little black seals on the contract down there, because our contract rules are so antiquated that if they're not signed under seal, that listing's no good, that contract's no good. That it's still like signing a retainer with your lawyer. You're hiring your agent to do your work, to keep your secrets, which, wow, how often do they do that? Less down here. I mean, if you're sick and you have to sell your house, you don't want your selling agent, your listing agent, to be going around telling people that, right? Then you're going to get less money. Here's another thing. If you have a contract on your property, you should only be quoting the full contract price. Anybody that says, bring me, if you got a listing at $200,000 and you say, bring me $175, I'm sure they'll take it. Boom, you've breached your contract again. Just like giving less to the selling broker than you're taking without telling the vendor, it could hurt the performance of their listing. Don't do it. Not good. I'm working up a little bit of a sweat here, even though it's usually like a fridge in here. So, you're walking out the door, there's no risk to you because you've got a signed agreement. You've delivered a true copy. It's all good. Unless you made a mistake on the contract somewhere, you're good to go. It's got a specific commission. It's got a specific expiry date. It's got a holdover clause, and it's got a commission in there that might be subject to HST or GST or might be subject to a transaction fee. You remember the transaction fee? That thing didn't last long. I got stung by a bee on the way to work today. It's fucking... Oh, I shouldn't be swearing on the Commission Coach channel. Welcome to Commission Coach on Twitter, Commission Coach on YouTube, and shoot, I'm not in Commission Coach on the fake book. The link's in the show description. So you're walking out the door, you got a 4 or 5% listing, you spin on it around on your heel, and you say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, just as an afterthought, let me ask you a question. Would you pay an extra 2 points to a buyer broker, to a co-op, to a selling broker, not to me, to bring you full pop? So invent a Century 21 agent, shows your house, and they threaten to bring an offer. Would you pay that agent an extra point and a half, 2 points? Go for 2. Let's see what they say, because guaranteed they got 2% negotiability in their price. And most sellers are not thinking, I'm going to list my house, it's going to sell for full pop right off the bat, unless you're in one of those markets that you just came out of about a year ago. The market is much more competitive now. Prices are declining. Sales are declining. Listings are increasing. There's more competition. So this is the market to use this. And sellers, this is the market you want to increase your commissions. So it doesn't matter who your agent is. Tell them, listen, bump my commission on the selling broker a couple points. Make it the first remark in the listing details. Note, selling brokers 4%. So it's the first thing the agents read. Now, it doesn't matter about the public. The public reads that. Well, if the public reads that at an open house, they're like, okay, 289, 4-bedroom. What's 4% to SB mean? Well, that's how much I'm offering to pay your agent if you bring them in on the deal. Many times the next question is, how much have I deal with you? Now, part of the close... and I'm talking to agents mostly here, but sellers, there's a little bits of information in here for you. Part of the close for me when I was in North America is, listen, I'm taking your listing at 4% to selling broker with a 7% total commission. If I double end the property myself, I'll do it for 5. Right? It's still 2% less than I would get on a 7% listing paying a co-op 4 at a 7% commission. And in Canada, you need to disclose any pre-existing relationship or a commission structure with the vendor because it gives you an unfair advantage. So, if you've got competing offers, your vendor is subject to 2 points less if they take your listing or your offer, and that how that boils down is you have to disclose that to the selling broker that's competing. You have to tell them, listen, I've got a special arrangement with the vendor. If I sell it, I'm only charging him 5, which means he's saving 2% in commission by dealing with my offer. So you need to know that, and out of your 4%, you can do whatever you want. And leads me to a kind of, there's all kinds of threads here. 4% to the selling broker allows the buyer broker, the co-op, or the selling broker a lot of room to do a cash kickback, a kickback on closing to the vendor, to the buyer, right? I mean, we all know that you can get back down here. I've got a hotel I just listed at $1.5 million. It's a 5-room boutique hotel right across the beach in Sosua. I'm going to soon be advertising a $50,000 reward for anybody that sends me a buyer for that, because the commission is, what have I got that one at? 10%. Right? I don't know what it's going to sell for. The guys are motivated. It's an international corporation that owns it, but they're motivated. And at 1.5, at 10% commission, and 10% commission is not abnormal on the North Coast, especially Sosua and Cabarete. Outside Los Terrenos and Puerto Plata, maybe it doesn't exist so much. Maybe it's 4 or 5 or 6%. It's mostly 5 or 6, I think. But in Sosua, 10% is almost like the going expected rate. You can get less, but then your co-op drops too. Where was I? I should be able to rewind. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. You're spinning around on a heel. You're asking them, will you pay an extra 2 points? I was going somewhere else. Oh, the cash kickback for the selling broker. right? That's the point I was making. With a 4% of the selling broker, that's a lot of room. The co-op can say to the buyer, listen, just take it. I'll kick you back 1 point. Or just take it. I'll kick you back 2 points out of my commish. So reduce the price by 2% or use the cash when you close. So it gives you room. It gives you room to negotiate. And down here, I don't know if it's because there's no agency or just no real regulation on anything. Like, I mean, you can open a restaurant and there's no health board and there's no liquor license. There's no business license. There's nothing. You just open a restaurant and you're good to go. It's crazy. There's so much. It's the Wild West down here. And by the way, it's not the Wild Wild West unless you're talking about the show from the '60s or Will Smith's, version of Wild Wild West. No, it's the Wild West. Unless you want to talk about the Wild Wild West, it's not the Wild Wild West unless you're talking about the song Wild Wild West. So it is the Wild West down here. There's very little regulation, so I can pay you a cash finder's fee, which you can't do in North America because it breaks some law. Some law. Only parties to the transaction can get a kickback. You can't give a kickback to the mortgage agency. You can't give a kickback to someone that referred you the client. It's illegal. Now, you can do it with cash under the table if you're not telling anyone, but then you risk your license. If that becomes public and somebody takes you down, you can lose your license for paying an unregistered or unlicensed realtor. Unless you do it under the table, which is also illegal. Down here, if you send me a buyer for Casa 22, and it's not Casa 22, ooh, I almost let something slip there. It's Casa 22, and it's at 1.5 million. And I'm going to do like that wanted buyer reward, $50,000. And now I can't send you $50,000 as a wire transfer, but if I'm holding $50K cash for you down here, I think you can afford the flight. And if you can't, I'll send you a couple of grand out of your take to come down and collect the cash. And then you can open a bank account in the Dominican Republic. You don't have to worry about taking more than 10 grand back with you. Open a Dominican bank account. Takes about 2 hours at Banco Santa Cruz. And keep your money down here. Maybe buy a little property with it. Or when you come for vacation, you got a big fat stack of cash in the bank. Okay? So down here, I can pay whoever I want. You don't need to be. There are no registered realtors in Dominican Republic. I'm still a registered realtor in Canada. I hold a license in Ontario. Legally, I can trade real estate in the province of Ontario. I can transfer it to BC if I wanted to. But I still hold a real estate license in Canada. Down here, no one has a license. I don't even think mortgage brokers have a license. I go to my chiropractor. He doesn't have a medical license. Well, he has one in the States, but he doesn't need one here that I know of. It's the Wild West. So I can pay anyone I want a finder's fee, a bird dog fee. If you're sending me a seller, thanks, Moose. I'm going to connect with your guy after Christmas. I can completely send you stacks of cash. Well, I can't send you stacks of cash, and I can't wire you more than, I think it's 10,000 out of country. But I can hold it for you, and when you come down, I can give you fat stacks of USD. Everything's USD down here, commissions and prices. All right, I got to get out of here. I got to use this office for selling some real estate, not broadcasting. Dibs is in the house. Clayton's in the house. He said he was coming in later. This is later. Hello, Christine. This is real. TheCommissionCoach.com. Right here. This is what it looks like. Who did my logo? What happened to my Zoom? There's my Zoom. Oh, where is the logo? Wild Wild West. Now I won't be able to get that out. There's my logo there. It looks like a 7%. There's the interview to the broke agent. If you're going down to thecommissioncoach.com, Eric Stick Simon was a good interview. And I'm proud of that logo. Commission Coach is in there, 2 C's. The 7 is in there. He used to have a house, I think, at the top. What was Benny's girlfriend's name did that for me. thecommissioncoach.com, or find it on social media everywhere. Well, you know what? One more thing on the way out. We call it the final sign back. So you're not going to cut your commission on the first sign back. You're going to send the 4% back. And if you're smart, you'll leave that 4% bonus or whatever the above market rate is. You're going to leave that in until the vendor says, and you're not hoping the vendor's going to forget that you've got them signed at above market commission, because if your normal rate of commission, normal rate, you got to be, I'm not in Canada, so I don't have to worry about speaking anti-competitively. Did you know that my own real estate board, the Niagara Association of Realtors, when I held a meeting to mass train agents, I had 20 agents sign up for this training. The current president of the board sent me a cease and desist and said I was possibly engaging in anti-competitive, what do they call that? Anti-competitive practices? What's that? When you collude to fix prices. They said, and I was a board of director at the time, and they said, we have no insurance that will cover you if you do this meeting and teach people how to get more money on their commissions. And all the agents, I was talking about this earlier, I didn't finish my point. All the agents that you're paying $1,000 a month to keep you accountable, don't talk about getting higher commissions. If they do, if Brian Buffini or Tom Ferry, or I don't even think Mike Ferry's coaching anymore, or some of the coaches, who's that ever, Sandy out of Toronto, or are they teaching you how to get higher commissions? I don't think they are. Anyway, they sent me a cease and desist, and I still did the meeting with 10 realtors at the banquet room at the Blue Mermaid, and the deal was still the same thing. You guys pay for my lunch, and I'll give you free coaching on how to get better commissions. Okay, so you're going to leave the 4%. You're going to leave the above market until the last second. And again, you're not hoping that your vendor's going to forget that you get above market commission. All the time you're saying, now remember, we're at 4% on the selling broker on this thing. So sign it back and come down. You know how we go back and forth and negotiate back and forth. At some point, the vendor's going to say, okay, that's it. This is my last sign back at 4 points. Anything, if I go lower than this, it's coming out of that. So your commission might be in play as well, right? And if you're smart, you've already answered one of the hardest questions that I put to you that I didn't give you an answer to, but using that as an example. Then, in the driveway, I know, listen, go on presentations. Don't just send the offer to your vendor by email. You need to be there. You need to present the offer. You need to go to bat for your client. If you're a buyer broker, a selling broker, or a co-op, you're not just sending your offer off to the listing agent and saying, oh, good luck. No, you want to meet the seller and tell them, you know what? If you sell to my guys, they're going to take good care of your property. Most people, that goes a long way. There's so much salesmanship that you don't have access to if you're just sending your offer off to the listing broker. The listing broker doesn't work for you. He wants to put a deal together, but he works for his client, the seller. So you're leaving the above market commission until the last minute, and then you say, selling broker, this is your last shot at 4%. I can tell you that anything lower is coming out of your commission. So if you want to get this deal done, get it closed, and you'll get 4 points. If you don't, your commission is up in the air. All right? And sometimes, hey, get this. I've done this a lot. For 20 years, or more than 20 years, in Canada, every listing I took was above market. If you're an agent in the Toronto board, you remember me sending you a page with 8 or 10 or 12 listings on it, and every one said 4% to SB. Agents know what that is. And so I've been doing this a long time. And over the course of real life negotiations, imagine this. You say to the selling broker, okay, listen, I can bring you 2.25 at 4%. Or I can bring you 220 at 3. What do you want? You want the lower price for your buyer, or you want the chance to get more money in your pocket? Now, it doesn't. You have to figure out the exact discount, and what, you're not going to be reducing commission by 2% and only reducing the price by $50. So, you have to work out. I'm not using numbers that are exact, but I think a majority of the time, just like when you spin around on your heel and ask the vendor, hey, would you pay 2 extra points to get full pop? 85% of the time they say yes. You go back to the table, you increase the selling broker commission by 2%, not your commission, but 2% of the selling broker, and you tell them, listen, if I sell it myself, I'll do it for 5. I'll save you a couple points. Just like the vendor, 85 to 95% of the time saying, hell yes, if you get me full pop, I'll pay more, because they're not expecting to get full pop. Just like that, almost 80% of the time, the selling broker, the buyer broker, the co-op will go, you know what, give me the 225. Let me see what I can do. Now, who are they working for? They're representing the buyer, but they're actually kind of being more loyal to the money that's being paid by the transaction, the listing broker, or the seller, or all. I mean, the transaction pays. The buyer's money pays. And that buyer broker might go back to their buyer and go, you know what? It's only $5,000. Just take it. He wants his extra dough. He's working for himself. Greed is good. Use it against selling brokers that don't represent the seller. They represent the buyer. That's why they call them selling brokers, buyer brokers, or co-ops. I think that's a good place to end, even though I got lots more here. TheCommissionCoach.com is where you want to go to check it out. There is a program there. Why don't you just call me? Because my Canadian bank account is down. So if you put money into this page right here and sign up for the program, it goes into an account that I don't have access to anymore. It's still active. I just can't access it from the Dominican. So go to thecommissioncoach.com. And if you're a seller, and I haven't discussed enough of the strategy for why you should use this, then call me directly. I won't charge you the $500 like I did, because, hey, listen, if you're an agent, paying me the $500 is going to pay off immediately on your first go around. You're going to increase your listing. You're going to get better commissions on every single listing from here on out. And you're going to convert every single active listing that you have from a 2% selling broker, co-op commission, to 4%. And then advertise the hell out of it. Make it the first remark in the description. Note, SB equals 4. SB equals 4. Don't put a percentage. Don't put co-op. Just put SB, because the public doesn't know what SB means until they come in and ask you on an open house feature sheet, what's 4% to SB? Buying Dominican Republic at gmail.com is how you can get a hold of me. I think info at Commission Coach still works as well. Don't use that one. Buying Dominican Republic at gmail.com is the easiest one I can think of right now. TheCommissionCoach.com, 1-809-330-8926. That's 1-809-330-8926. And that number works on WhatsApp, which is the most common down here. It's high season. It's just the beginning. Merry Christmas, I guess. Doesn't feel like Christmas to me down here, because, does this look like Christmas to you? Like, I'm from Canada, okay? Does this look like Christmas to you? It's 85 degrees and sunny every day, okay? Peace, love, hug your neighbor, and whatever you do, do not discount your commission. I am out.